Before going down with his knee injury, Lonzo Ball played in a total of 35 games at the start of the 2021 season, and over that stretch, the Chicago Bulls went 22-13, giving them the second best record in the East. In this video, we're going to look at Lonzo's total skill set and go over why, when healthy, is one of the most underrated players across the league, and also how his game fits perfectly in Chicago. Now, Lonzo easily does his best work in transition, where he's got elite speed with the ball, plus a great feel of the entire court. Coming into the league, Ball was immediately one of the best playmakers on the break. But with Chicago, I also thought his scoring in transition took a big step forward, where off the bounce, Lonzo was very aggressive by attacking and looking to put pressure on the rim.
Lonzo on the push to the rim for two.
Now, Ball's never had the most creative or dynamic handle, but he does have the speed and explosiveness to effectively attack into open space, and his handle does pair well with his fast-paced game. I like this move here, where Ball's again pushing the pace, and in stride, he's going to hit a nice cross jab, where he pushes the ball to his left hand first, then plants his right foot second, which opens up this defender's stance, giving Ball an attacking angle. So because the defense has to respect Lonzo's paint scoring, he's able to pretty easily push the defense back below the three, which gives him the airspace for these transition pull-ups. And Lonzo this year shot a ridiculous 43% on all his pull-up threes. And to put that in perspective, that was higher than Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Damian Lillard that year. Now, I'm not saying that Lonzo is necessarily a better shooter than those guys, but he's obviously turned into a real pull-up shooting threat in transition. And that open court athleticism and shot making also makes Lonzo a great scorer off the ball, where he can both fill lanes and catch lobs above the rim, plus space out to the perimeter and can spot up threes. So in transition, Lonzo is a pretty well-rounded scorer. He can put the ball down to attack the basket, rise up for pull-up threes at an extremely efficient rate, and all those tools translate over to his scoring off the ball. And all that in return feeds into the best part of Lonzo's game, which is going to be his passing. Because the defense now respects Lonzo as a scorer in transition, many of his passing reads were pretty simple and straightforward, where Zoe gets the ball and turns on the Jets, and the defense has to build up a wall in order to keep him out of the deep paint, opening up these clear passing reads. Watch him here get the ball and immediately attack towards the top of the key, which pulls these two defenders up, giving Alex Caruso a clear lane to the basket. We can see the same effect on this play, where Ball's going to hit the triple button, forcing this defender to turn and square up, leaving the paint wide open for this lob. Lonzo's willingness to give up the ball early is another huge element to his facilitating. He always plays with his head up and is willing to advance the ball, and this puts a ton of pressure on the defense. And like we went over, Lonzo is a real scoring threat with the ball, but at the same time, he's more than willing to make this simple play that leads to high quality shots. So the defense has little room for error when converting on the break. And Ball's early passes are on full display with these full court dimes, where he's got the accuracy of an NFL quarterback. This pass here is crazy, where Zach LaVine on the left side of the screen is going to leak out, and Lonzo's going to needle this baseball pass through these three defenders. So what ties everything together from these full court touchdown passes to these quick dimes in traffic is going to be Lonzo's basketball feel. Simply put, Lonzo can read the floor extremely well, which allows him to find mismatches and punish the off-ball defense for any kind of breakdown. And many of these passes don't lead to a direct shot, but it does give his teammates advantages to attack. Take this play for example. As soon as Ball gets to the half-court line, he reads these two defenders sliding over. So in response, he's going to skip the ball across to LaVine, who now has all this open space to attack his man one-on-one. We can see him make a similar read here, where Lonzo again reads the defense shifting over, so he's going to make the skip pass across the court, putting his teammate in perfect position to attack the paint. So when looking at everything Lonzo brings to the table, from his open court speed, on-ball scoring, and his feel of the entire court, he pretty clearly has the tools to do a ton of damage on the break. and that's something the Bulls have definitely been missing. Last year, Chicago averaged just over 18 points per game on the break, which was the third lowest across the NBA. Now, when transitioning over and looking at Lonzo's game in the half court, he did a big chunk of his work as a spot-up shooter, and this is where I think Lonzo should get a ton of credit for a steady improvement year after year. We all remember how rough Lonzo's form was in his rookie year, where he had this huge dip before getting his feet set, and his release point was on the left side of his face, which is very unusual for righties. But when comparing those clips to his most recent film, it's clear that Lonzo's made some big mechanical improvements by consistently catching with his feet set and moving his set point back across to his right side. These tweaks have made Lonzo both a more accurate shooter while also giving him a quicker trigger off the catch, where he wastes absolutely no movement into his jumper. If he receives the ball with any airspace, Lonzo is going to pull the trigger with no hesitation. And like we went over with this game in transition, Ball is also extremely accurate shooting off the dribble, which adds to his scoring and pick and roll. If the defense gives Lonzo too much of a cushion off these screens, he's more than comfortable letting these shots go. So this primarily forces the defense to step up and fight over these ball screens, which then allows Ball to turn the corner and dot passes all over the court. In pick and roll, Lonzo is capable of making pretty much any pass, being able to squeeze these pocket passes through tight gaps, read the off-ball defense and punish them for overcommitting and help. Plus his size and length gives him the ability to make these cross-court passing reads. We'll see him here turn the corner off his screen, and when this help defender slides down into the paint, Lonzo is going to shoot up and snap the skip pass over to the opposite corner. So while Lonzo is for sure a capable scorer and creator with the ball, he does spend most of his half-court possessions off the ball as a spot-up threat, where again he's turned into an above-average floor spacer. But outside of his shooting, Ball is also a great connective passer, where he's always playing one step ahead and keeps the defense in rotation with these routine swing passes. And these plays for the most part aren't super flashy, but it does set his teammates up for great looks. And simple plays like this lay the foundation for every great offense. And because the defense now has to respect Ball as an outside shooter, this makes these touch passes way tougher to guard. So when looking at everything Lonzo brings on the offensive end, he fills in the cracks with everything Chicago is missing, from his scoring and playmaking in transition, his creation in the half court, and most importantly his outside shooting. From an individual standpoint, Lonzo may not have the scoring chops of other elite point guards across the league, but his skill set brings Chicago everything they're missing. Now when switching over and looking at Lonzo's defense, this is another area where he brings a ton of value. As a perimeter defender, Ball checks all the boxes, having both the foot speed to keep the ball in front and the length to extend up and alter shots. Watch him here first scramble across and cut off Dame's initial drive, and from this spot Lonzo has the coordination to swivel his hips to then stay on Dame's hips and extend up to swat the shot. And then on top of all that quickness and length, Lonzo also has pretty good strength, which allows him to effectively switch up and guard bigger wings.
Clutch numbers. Paul George coming out.
Another big element in Ball's defense is going to be his fast hands, where he's elite at finding these small windows to swipe the ball free. And typically a player who goes for these types of steals will also rack up a bunch of fouls. But Lonzo in his last season averaged under 2.5 fouls per game, which means for the most part Lonzo is a pretty disciplined defender. But if the opportunity for a steal is there, he's still going to take it. And then all those tools carry right over to Lonzo's defense off the ball, where his speed and length makes him an elite defender in scrambles, being able to shoot across the court to contest shots, plus being able to dig deep in gap and make plays on the ball.
It's amazing.
I think when fully healthy, Lonzo is easily a top-tier perimeter defender across the league. He may not have the complete versatility of a Drew Holiday or Herb Jones, but he's still capable of guarding 1 through 3. Plus his speed, length, and basketball feel makes him a monster defender off the ball. And Lonzo's ability to force turnovers and miss shots feeds into his scoring and creation on the break. I think if Lonzo Ball can give the Bulls consistent minutes and comes back completely healthy, that's going to for sure have a positive impact for Chicago on both ends of the court. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of Lonzo's game. The kid's here.